Okay, so here's the answers to your group quiz. Nobody had questions on number 1 or number 2. Here is number 3. I had somebody ask me if this was stress. No, but this is. Right? Yeah. Because if you divide both sides by 16, you get 116. If you multiply both sides by 16, you get the 16 on your side. Right? Yeah. This one is like a parabola. Right here. Some of you made the mistake that if you add 4 to both sides, right, this one you have to add 4. This one you have to add 4, but it becomes a negative 4 because of the negative sign right there.
So easy,
I can, yeah. Number 4. Can the talking stop, please? Alright, so I have an x squared of 4x. Plus we're going to add something. A negative y squared, a negative 4y, plus we're going to add something. And then I'm going to put the negative 9 on the other side and positive 9. This is going to be, what number goes in here? 2 squared. And what goes in here? Negative 2 squared. Only it's not a negative. Because, okay, this is going to be x plus 2 squared. I'm going to pull a negative out of here. Negative y squared. This becomes positive 4y. That means I would be adding a positive. Equals. Alright, now let's complete this. So here I added 2 squared, so I need to add 2 squared over here, which is 4. Here I added a 2 squared, but I have a negative associated with it right here. So this is going to be negative 4. Does everybody see what? Yeah. Yes. I added 4, but I have to apply that negative to it. So this becomes x plus 2 squared minus y plus 2 squared, all equals 9. And I divide everybody by 9. Why do I keep hearing talking? This becomes a 1. Question? No? You good? Okay. Any other questions here? No? We're good? Alright, let's keep going. Number 6. Do you want me to just do number 6? Yeah. So here's number 6. What am I going to do first? What should I do first? Graphics. Right? Yep. I'm going to graph it so I have something to reference. So I'm going to graph the first one. We're going to do this one in blue. This is a parabola because it doesn't have, they're not both square. This parabola is done in, has a center, or a vertex, of 0, 0. So I'm at 0, 0. My LLR is 4, that means P is 1. I've got x being squared, so I know it's going to either be up or down. It's positive, so it's going to be going up. I ask myself all these questions as I'm discussing it, right? So then I'm going to go up 1 for P and out 2 in each direction to give me a total of 4 for my LLR. So there's that. The next one is an ellipse. The ellipse also has a center. Well, the first one is 0. But the second one is up 1. Over 2 squared, 4 squared. Now every square, right? So I can see exactly what I need to do. So I start at my center, which is at 0, positive 1, 0, positive 1. And I say on the x-axis, I'm going to go out 2, out 2, out 2, out 2. And then I'm going to go up 4, up 4. So up 4, down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I just found my intersection. Now I know all I have to do is make my algebra match. There's an intersection there. There's an intersection there. Now I'm going to erase all this and make my algebra match. Okay? Alright, so it says 4y is equivalent to x squared. So if 4y is equivalent to x squared, couldn't I make my x squared 4y? Yes, that would be very smart. Okay, let's do that. So I'm going to make that 4y. So 4y over 4 equals, plus y minus 1 squared over 16 equals 1. I can cancel my 4, but I didn't have to do it that way. I'm going to multiply everybody by 16 now. If I multiply everybody by 16, that's how I get rid of that 16. Okay, so if I multiply everybody by 16, this is going to be 16y plus y minus 1 squared equals 16. Multiply everybody by 16. I can't do anything else here, so I better FOIL this. 16y plus y squared minus 2y plus 1 equals 16. 16y and negative 2y make 14y. And I'm going to put that negative 1, I'm going to put negative 1 on the other side, or the 1 on the other side, and I'm going to get I already need it. Should have been 16. Then I add 1 to both sides, and I get, subtract 1 from both sides, and I get 16. Alright, what am I going to add to both sides to make a perfect square? What would I add to both sides to make a perfect square? 7 squared, or 49. Okay, so this becomes y plus 7 squared equals 64. Take the square to both sides. And again, y plus 7 equals plus or minus, 8. And there's what? Are we off? Okay, so I've got 2 different answers here. I've got when I subtract 7 from both sides, when y is positive 8 and I subtract 7, I'm going to get 1. When I subtract 7 from both sides and I have negative 8, it's going to be negative 15. I go back and I look at my graph. Y is 1 here and here. Y never is negative 15. Negative 15 is way down here. But if you didn't realize that, and realize that sinks with an extraneous situation or solution, you could always, please shut that door. You can always, plug it back into the original. The original one, the easier equation is the top one, right? 4y equals x squared. We're going to do that. 4y is going to equal x squared. Write down y is negative 15. That would make negative 50 equals x squared. Anytime you take the square root of a negative, it's going to become imaginary, right? That doesn't work. This one doesn't work. So let's put in 1 and see what happens. Let's put y equals to 1. Then I get 4 equals x squared. Or when I take the square root of both sides, I get x is equal to plus or minus 2. So my solutions are, we'll write them right up here. I've got 2 solutions. Y always equals 1. Right? In both my solutions, y equals 1. That's how I got my x, by plugging in 1. But on one of them, when I plugged in 1, I get positive 2. And on the other one, when I plugged in 1, I get negative 2. Here's the square root. And it matches my graph. Okay? So really important that you graph those, right? Okay. Any more questions on this one? Pretty straightforward? Yeah. All right. You should look for something like this on your test and on the final. Okay? These. You're just putting it in transformational form. Right? And then these 2 things tell us something. The height is always here. Right? And this is my axis of symmetry right here, right? So it's going over 6 and up 8. My maximum is 8. This one was a little more complicated because you have to think about it. After you did all the math, you guys want me to do this one? How are we doing on that? 20? Awesome. Thank you. All right, so if I've got 12 TVs, and they're $1,000 each, but I realized that if I decrease them by $50, I'll sell 1 additional TV. That's what's happening. So I could write it out. So 12 TVs is going to be 1,000 of these. As I increase it, it's going to go down to 950. And increase another one, it's going to go down to 900. We could do it that long way, or we could use algebra. So I have y equal to negative 50x squared plus 400x plus 12,000. Get the 12,000 on the other side. Negative 50x squared plus 400x. Notice right now, if I were to look at my vertex, I don't know the x, but the y would be 12,000. That would be the highest, right? We haven't manipulated it at all. But that still matches. If I multiply 12 times 1,000, I would get 12,000, right? Without doing anything to it. All right. So now I'm going to pull out a 50, negative 50. When I pull out a negative 50, I get x squared minus 8x. What could I add to complete the square? 4 squared. So am I adding 4 squared over here? Adding 16? What did I forget? Negative 50 of them. What's negative 50 times 16? $800? So this is negative 800. Negative 800. How much am I adding to both sides? So now this becomes y minus 12,800 equals negative 50 times x minus 4 squared. I've got it in version 1. Where this is my maximum revenue, and this is how many additional televisions I would sell. 1 additional would be $950. 2 additional would be $900. 3 additional would be what? $850. 4 additional would be $800. What's 16 times 800? 12,800, which is the same amount I got here. Okay? What? There's a quicker way to do it? This is a quicker way to do it. Yeah, this is a quicker way to do it. So this transformational form makes sense of the problem. Right? If I asked you how much do you want to sell it for, would it make sense? $4? $4 make sense? No. No, so you know you'd have to go back and see how to make sense of it, right? The problem says where X is the amount of additional televisions sold, and R of X, or Y, is the total revenue. Total revenue, additional televisions sold. There were 12 and $1,000 each. So then 4 additional would mean I would have to make 4 different discounts. 4 discounts at $50 a piece is $200, right? $200 discount, you can look at it that way too. So if I take 1,000 and take off 200, I get 800. Okay? All right, I'm going to pass back your cumulative now really quickly, and I'm going to give you all the answers to that. Let me go ahead and pause this and back it up. All right, so number 1, you should have gotten factored to that you needed to say that x equals 2, x equals 3. This is the third take-home test. Take-home test. Take-home test. Right?
Yeah.
Right? I'm not, every little thing that you get wrong is going to be marked wrong because it's a test, first of all. Second of all, it's take-home. Third of all, you had a week to do it, over a week to do it. All right. Practice 1. Some of you are going to get really angry with me because I was very picky. All right. So I have to, this is 2 different things. This is y minus 1 equals negative. That's putting it in transformational form. So I need to go up 1 and to the left 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? 1, negative 5. It's pointing down because of the negative, and the slope is 1/2. So it's over 1, and down 1 over 2. Down 1 over 2. So it needs to look like that, first of all. Second of all, you should be able to tell me, I need the talking behind me to stop, guys. Second of all, you should be able to tell me that x is in between positive infinity and negative infinity. You should be able to tell me that the range has an upper boundary of 1, positive 1, including 1, and a lower boundary of negative infinity. And the end behavior is, as x is going in the positive direction, the graph is going negative. As x goes in the negative direction, the graph also goes down. The graph is always going down. So that's for full credit on that. This one, solve it graphically. So I can say y equals 2 times absolute value of x minus 6 or y minus 6 equals 2 times graph the value of x. There's one of them. I'll go ahead and graph that. So that's over 0 and down 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And up to over 1, up to over 1 ends up like this. Over 1, up to over 1, up to over 1, up to over 1, up to over 1. So there's that. This one is just y equals 4. So I go up 1, 2, 3, 4. The intersection of the two is right here, which is at 5 and negative 5. So I put dotted line here. Right? It says less than. Less than. Less than means everything that's below that line. The graph below the line is everything in here. Right? Nope, don't have yet. Everything in here. Which means you had to write this as x is in between 5 and negative 5. Now this is why. For those of you that said x is less than 5, x is greater than negative 5, that's what this says. X is greater than negative 5? X is less than 5? That's all real numbers. You have to say and. It's like if you went to a restaurant and the waitress asked you what you wanted and you said, I want a glass of milk and a glass of water. What would happen if you came back to the table and you only had a glass of water? You said, I didn't say a glass of water or a glass of milk. I said I wanted both of them. Right? This implies one or the other. Right? So this is the milk, and this is the water. I don't want milk or water. I want both of them. You could put them in the same step, but you would have and. All right, so for some of you, when you solved it this way, which I'll do next, when you solved it this way, you added 6 to both sides, and you got 10. Then you divided by 2, and you got 5. Then you said x is less than 5, x is greater than negative 5. If you had this over here, I knew you understood that it was either in between, like both of these are the same. This with an and is the same thing as saying this squished in between, right? So if you had just this answer and not an and, but you put this over here, I circled it and went like that. And vice versa. If you didn't put your solution here, but you had something that looked like this over here, I circled it and put it over here. It doesn't mean move it. It means it should be there too. It should be in both places. Okay? Does everybody understand? Again, because this was the third one of these, it had to be perfect. Lucas.
You can draw the line from the graph that connects to the x-axis between the red line right there with the wrong.
No. Did you have this? That's why. Okay? All I needed was the graph. I needed the V and the line and this. Okay? The V and the line and this. That's solving it graphically. Wait. Exactly that.
That's the back.
Yes. Yes. Yes, you're right. That is that. You need the graph and the line. You can't solve it graphically without the line. There's no way to know that it's at 5 and negative 5 if you just have a v and not a line. Right? All right. Keep going. Identify the type of conic. X squared is positive. Y squared is negative, so this is a hyperbola. So I'm going to start with my x's. 9x squared plus 36x can be changed to 9 times x squared plus 4x plus something. Then I got my y. Negative, I'm going to pull out a 25 right away. Negative 25, y squared. So I pull out a 25 from the 50, it's going to be negative 2y plus something equals. Once I put that 214 on the other side, it's going to be plus 214. I have to recognize that I'm going to have to take 9 of whatever my boxes are, and I'm going to have to take negative 25 of whatever my green box is. In order to complete the square here, this needs to be 2 squared. This one must be 1 squared. That means this needs to be a 4, and this needs to be a 1. So this becomes 9 times x plus 2 squared minus 25 times y minus 1 squared, all equals what? 214 plus 36 minus 25, 225. Okay. If I divide everybody by 225, I get x plus 2 squared over 25 minus y minus 1 squared over 9. So my center is at negative 2 on the left. Question? Move on. All right, for the parabola, find the vertex. My vertex is right here. Negative 3, sorry, start with the x, positive 2, negative 3, positive 2, negative 1, 2, 3. It's an x squared and it's positive, so we know it's going to look like this. Then I ask myself, what is my LLR? My LLR is 4. Some of you put 1. Right? P is 1. So I go up 1, out 2, up 1, out 2 to make my LLR a 4. I know I have to go down 1 for my directrix. So my directrix is at, what's my directrix touching? The y-axis or the x-axis? The y, so it's y equals negative 4. And my axis of symmetry is x equals 2. Questions? Okay. At the x game, the skateboarder leaves a 12-foot ramp with a velocity of 13 feet per second. The function of the height of the ground. What's his maximum height? What do I say to myself? I need the maximum height. Vertex. I need the vertex. So I'm going to call this h. I'm going to subtract that 12 equals negative 16 p squared minus 2p plus something. I'm going to add that something on the other side, but I need negative 16 of them. I'm going to keep going, guys. If you guys want to leave, here you go. You know what your homework is? Okay? I'm going to finish the recording so I can have that. The number that goes in here is going to be 1 squared. 1 squared. I'm going to take a picture of this. Can you tell it as you're reading so I can see my video itself? I said I eat it salad as I'm leaving. I mean, actually leaving, okay? Alright, so this is going to be negative 16 and negative 12. It's going to make h minus 28 equals negative 16 times c minus 1 squared. So my maximum height is going to be 28 because my vertex is at 128. And I was forgiving on that one because this was a new question for your cumulative, so I circled it. But next time you should say 28 feet high. Okay, next one. The sum of these series. So this one is infinite. So I know I have my a sub 1 over 1 minus r. I'm going down by a half. So it's 20 over 1 half. Sorry, 1 minus a half. Which is 20 over a half, which is 40. This one I'm going to do on another page. So this one's asking me for a sum. A sum is the number of terms I have plus the first one and the last one, all over 2. In order to find the first one, I just need to plug in 1 in for n, and I get 4 minus 2 is 2. My last term, I plug in sorry, it's not letting me make it red. So a sub n means I plug in the last one in, and I get 78. So, and I have 20 terms, which is right here. Put 1 going up to 20 makes 20. A sub 1 is 2. And a sub n is 78. If I solve that, I get 80. 20 divided by 2 is 10. So it's 800. All right, finally. Separate one. All right, it says James built a pendulum for a science project on his initial swing. Initial swing is 40 inches. Each swing is going to be 98% or 0.98. So I do 40 over 1 minus 0.98. Some of you guys put 0.2. If you put 0.2, you got 200. If you put 0.02, you got 2,000. Delete errors. And number 11. That's what I will do right there. A movie theater has a stadium seating with 10 seats in the first row. Each successive row has 4 more seats. How many seats are in the theater if it has 20 rows? I don't have a sub n or a sub 20, so I've got to find it. A sub 20 takes the first term, which is 10, add b, which is 4, times however many rows we have minus 1, which is 20 minus 1, which equals 10 plus 4 times 19. 4 times 19 is 76. 7 times 86. I'm going to use that in my summation. So the sum of all 20 rows is, I have 20 rows. My first row has 10. My last row has 86. And I add them up and then I have to take the average and divide by 2. 10 plus 86 is 96. 20 and 2 cancel to make 10. So 968 total in the theater. And for step. Oh, I should also show in the presentation, we also have all the homework answers. Do I just put the homework answers in here? I can put them on really quick. number 1. Number 1 is 3, 4, and negative 3, negative 4. Number 2 is 1, 4, and negative 1, 4. I can do any of these tomorrow as well. I can in a second.
I'm trying to click on that one for some reason, I don't know what.
This one is x plus 2 squared over 1 plus y plus 1 squared over 25 equals 1. This one is x plus 3 squared over 1 minus y squared over 4 equals 1. And the last one was 4 times y plus 4 equals x plus 3 squared. Number 7 is a total of $850 revenue, sorry, for the TV, and the total revenue is going to be $14,450. And the last one is a total of $3 for that. And the total revenue is $900.
Okay, you're looking here.
All right.
Straight.